My child, from the moment the first light touched the primal darkness, I had already ordained every moment of creation, and within it every step of yours. Not one instant of your life is an accident, nor does any trial come apart from my eternal intent. The path you are stepping onto is not paved with ease or the applause of the world, but it is the road of preparation, the road of refinement, to reveal a glory greater than yourself. In the silence of the night I have engraved your name upon the palm of my hand, and I will never forget the one I have chosen. Open your heart and listen for my words. Today are not only words of comfort, but words of direction, a compass to help you stand firm in the days ahead. There are moments when you feel abandoned, when your prayers rise, yet heaven seems closed. But I tell you truly, even when you do not feel me, I am present. You cannot see me, but my eyes never leave you. You think you are lost, but in truth you are being led through a hidden corridor of grace. Remember the times you fell, and then a strength not your own lifted you up. It was I who did that. As a potter patiently turns the clay upon the wheel, so I am shaping your life in my hands, forming a vessel able to carry the glory of my kingdom. Do not rush to blame your circumstances, for every circumstance is a classroom where I teach you endurance. The world measures success by ease and advantage, but my kingdom measures it by faithfulness. They seek the easy road, but I look for hearts willing to walk the narrow path. They fear suffering, but I use suffering itself to carve my love deep within you. As it is written, "But my righteous one shall live by faith." Hebrews 1:0-3-8. That faith is not born in days of calm, but sprouts in the midst of storms. You have passed through long nights with a heavy heart, but it is in those nights that the seeds of eternity were sown. Your tears are not meaningless, they are jewels in my golden vessel. Tomorrow you will face a new trial, but I say clearly this is not punishment. It is the next step in the training I have designed. Gold must pass through fire to shine, a seed must be buried to sprout, a pearl must endure long friction to be formed. So it is with you. The treasure within you can only be revealed through pressure, adversity, and the discipline of circumstances that seem beyond your strength. Do not fear, for that fire does not come to destroy but to refine. The storm does not come to drown but to lift you higher, and the trial does not come to end you but to open the new chapter I have already prepared. Have you not prayed that I would use your life for a higher purpose? Have you not longed to see my glory cover the earth? Then, my child, what you are about to enter is the very answer. No glory is revealed without surrender. No testimony echoes without testing. Even my only son, the Redeemer, had to pass through Gethsemane, where he sweated drops of blood facing the bitter cup. Yet through surrender he entered resurrection triumph. And now you are called to walk in those footsteps, not to repeat them, but to partake of the life and power that has overcome death. You may think you are not strong enough, and you are right, you are not. But my grace abounds. You may tremble at the thought of the future, but remember, I am the author of the beginning and the end. You are living in the chapter I myself have written, and that chapter will not end in failure. I have placed within you a fire that cannot be quenched, and this trial ahead is but the wind that will cause that fire to blaze higher. Understand this, the ultimate goal is not for you to become strong by human standards, but to become a living witness of my faithfulness. When you are weak, yet still stand, the hosts of heaven rejoice. When you are surrounded, yet still sing praise, darkness trembles. When you are pressed, yet not crushed, the universe knows a power beyond this world is at work in you. This is the evidence of my presence, and you are not alone. There is a great cloud of witnesses watching you, those who have gone before, fought their battles and prevailed. They are cheering you from heaven. They have known the taste of tears, of loneliness, of misunderstanding, but they also know the sweetness of glory after persevering in faith. You need not be afraid, for you are walking in the ranks of heroes of faith, those of whom the world was not worthy. Do not compare your path with another's. Their road may be strewn with flowers, but flowers fade quickly. Your road may be rough, but it leads to eternal life. I have not promised every day will be easy, but I have promised every step will have meaning. Every tear is remembered, every prayer is stored, and every small act of faith is a stone in the fortress of eternity. Tomorrow's trial may take the form of a critical decision, a conversation, a choice of sacrifice. The world cannot understand, but I understand, heaven understands. And it is in those hidden moments unseen by others that glory is inscribed in the book of life. Do not seek the spotlight of the world, seek my gaze. Do not long for the applause of people. Listen instead for the whisper of my spirit within you, therefore be of good courage. You are entering a new season, a season of refinement and also of unveiling. The Son of Righteousness will rise with healing in his wings, and you will go out like a calf released from the stall, leaping in freedom. Do not look at the storm, look at the one who holds it. Do not focus on the prison, focus on the one who holds the key. Do not fear lack, for I am the source that never runs dry. You are the witness I am raising up in this generation. The trial is only part of the process, and the process is the sign that I am at work. As a father trains his child to maturity, so I am training you to become a vessel useful to my kingdom. When you feel small, remember, I have chosen the weak to shame the strong. I have chosen the lowly to confound the high. For my power is made perfect in weakness. You do not need to know every detail ahead. I call you only to walk step by step in faith. My light shines enough for each step, and it is in the obedience of each step that the whole journey unfolds. You will not walk alone. The pillar of cloud and the pillar of fire still go before you. You will not fall, for my hand holds you. You will not be forgotten, for your name is written in the book of life. Hold fast to these words today, for they will be food for your soul in the days ahead. When your mind is troubled, return to them. When your heart is weary, let them become cool water. When darkness surrounds you, let them be a lamp for your feet. For my word is truth, and my faithfulness endures forever. My beloved child, there are seasons when it seems as if every door has closed, every road ends in a wall, and every prayer dissolves into the void. In those days you ask yourself, are you still listening? Do you still see me? Do you still remember me? I know that sigh. I know the nights when you toss and turn, the mornings you wake with a heavy heart. I have been there even when you could not feel me. It is precisely in that silence that I am weaving a tapestry you cannot yet see. Like a seed buried in dark soil, seemingly forgotten, yet within that darkness, life is germinating, roots are going deep, and preparation is underway for a season of blossoming and fruitfulness. In the hiddenness of obscurity I have planted in your spirit things that the light of this world cannot yet perceive. You have thought it was abandonment, but it was protection. You have thought you were cut off, but in truth, you were being set apart. I have drawn you away from the noise from curious eyes, so your soul might learn to hear my voice without it blending with the voices of people. You have thought loneliness was punishment, but it is the school where I teach you to discern truth from falsehood, where I strip away dependencies, where I purify your motives, where I teach you to find sufficiency in me alone. Do you remember the moments when you prayed in silence, tears streaming without restraint, and you thought no one heard? I heard every sob. My angels gathered each tear as if collecting nectar. Not a sigh was overlooked. Not a whisper vanished. You thought heaven was unmoved, but heaven trembled when you whispered, "Please don't leave me." In those very moments I not only heard but acted, not in the way you expected, but in the way that would build strength within you. Hiddenness is not a sign of lesser worth. It is a sign of preciousness. A rare jewel is not displayed in the marketplace but kept in a closed case. Fine wine is not produced overnight, but must undergo long fermentation in the dark. The blacksmith does not strike once and finish, but again and again, heating, hammering, quenching, shaping, until a blade is forged that can cut through darkness. So it is with you. I am crafting something within you not for momentary display, but to stand firm for eternity. Remember what I have spoken through the scriptures. You will hide them in the secret place of your presence. Psalm 3:1-0. This is not mere words, it is your experience. You have been hidden in my presence, so that the enemy cannot snatch away what I am planting in you. I have shielded your soul from the arrows of envy, from curses uttered in secret. You do not know all the invisible battles that have been fought to protect you, but I and my angels know. Every step you take has been covered by my watch. At times you look around and see others advancing while you seem to stand still. You grow envious, wondering why their way is easier. But I tell you, you are being given deeper foundations. The higher the house, the deeper the foundation. If I gave you glory before you were ready, that glory would crush you. If I handed you the gift before you had learned how to guard it, that gift would become a burden. I love you too much to do that. Instead of giving immediately, I prepare. Instead of letting you step into the light too soon, I hide you in the darkness of training. I have seen you persist in silence. I have seen you obey when no one knew. I have seen you choose faithfulness when everything in you wanted to quit. You thought no one noticed, but I noticed. Heaven records every small act of love, every prayer unheard by others, every hidden sacrifice known only to you and me. And I will use these very things to create a portrait of glory you cannot yet imagine. My presence is not only on the mountaintop, but also in the valley. I am not only revealed in obvious miracles, but also in invisible peace. When you sit alone thinking no one understands, know that I am closer than your breath. I am speaking in the silence, placing my hand on your shoulder unseen, infusing strength into your soul. Learn to recognize that presence. It is not in the mighty wind, not in the earthquake, not in the blazing fire, but in the gentle whisper within your spirit. The inner life of the called is not a string of dazzling days, but a quiet discipline. It is where pride is broken, self-will is refined, and faith grows deeper. It is where you learn to relinquish the need for recognition, the need to defend your reputation, and to seek acceptance only in me. It is where you learn to love the unlovable, forgive the unforgivable, believe when nothing changes, and sing when tears still fall. This is your secret garden, the place where I meet with you, the place where I forge you into a vessel the enemy cannot destroy. Do not despise the small days. It is in those very days that I sow great seeds. Do not belittle the repetition of daily tasks. That very repetition builds discipline within you. Do not scorn the small assignments. Faithfulness in the small prepares you for the great. As Scripture says, whoever is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 1:6-10. I am testing your heart in the things no one sees, so that I may entrust you with things many will see. My child, do not mistake my silence for my absence. Silence is not abandonment. Silence is an invitation for you to listen more deeply. Silence is where I fortify your faith. Silence is the space where your roots grow deep, where your soul matures without the harsh glare of fame withering it. I am teaching you to recognize me when there is no sound, so that when the storm breaks you will still discern my voice amid 1,000 others. The day will come when you step out from the hidden place, and the world will marvel, where did this one get such wisdom and power? They do not know that in the hidden years, I have been placing within you the very things that now pour out, like a stream. They see only the outcome, but I have seen the process. And that process is the true miracle, the miracle of quiet transformation. Therefore, be patient in the hidden place. Be faithful in what no one notices. Keep your heart tender before me, though the world is hard. Continue to pray even when answers have not yet come. Continue to believe even when evidence is not yet visible. Continue to walk even when the light only shines for one step. In these very things you are being prepared for what eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and hearts have not imagined. When you feel you have nothing left to give, remember that I do not seek perfection, I seek surrender. When you think you are exhausted, remember that my power is made perfect in weakness. When the road feels too long, remember that I walk beside you step by step, breath by breath. I do not promise you will never weep, but I promise that every tear will water seeds of grace. I do not promise you will never grow weary, but I promise your wings will rise like the eagles and soar high when the time comes. Do not seek recognition, seek my presence. Do not count the number of followers, count the number of times I come near. Do not measure your worth by the noise around you, measure it by my whisper within you. It is this quiet faithfulness that sets you apart, that makes the enemy tremble, that makes heaven rejoice. And finally, let the hidden place be where you know me more deeply. Let your tears become a song. Let your loneliness become an altar. Let your waiting become a furnace refining gold. For I am doing a new thing, not like the old, beyond all understanding. When that day comes, you will look back and know that every tear was worth it. Every slow step was meaningful. Every seemingly silent year was the foundation for a harvest of abundance. My beloved, the world looks only at the surface, sees fire and thinks destruction, sees a hammer and thinks ruin, but my kingdom sees fire as light and the hammer as a tool. Everything you are going through is not a meaningless storm, but a masterful mold where your soul is shaped to carry what I am about to entrust to you. Like an instrument maker, I carve, stretch, heat, and cool the wood so it may produce the most beautiful sound. So it is with you. These pressures, these silences, are creating a heavenly resonance in your life. You have heard the saying, gold must go through fire to shine. But today I speak to you with a new image, as a river bends through mountains of stone water, meets resistance to form waterfalls, polishing the stones smooth. As grain must be threshed for its kernel to be revealed, as a painting needs shadows for colors to burst forth, as the long night makes dawn more radiant, all speak of my principle. I allow friction, pressure, and inconvenience not to paralyze you, but to make you whole. Without pressure, the precious core within you will not emerge. Without darkness, the light within you will not blaze. Without impact, the fragrance of sacrifice will not spread. Look back over your life and remember the times you thought you were breaking. Was it not after each of those times that you understood me more deeply, loved others more, and became more grateful for life? That is not coincidence. That is my process. I am turning every crack into a doorway for grace to flow out. I am turning every wound into a place from which precious oil pours forth. You think you lose value when you are broken, but it is the breaking that makes you useful in my hands. You are not a display vessel. You are a vessel to contain. And to contain more, the vessel must be cleansed, must be fired, must be tested for strength. People often ask, why does the Almighty not give the blessing without the trial? But I say a blessing cannot be held by a vessel not yet forged. It will leak out, be lost, or become a burden. I love you, so I prepare the vessel before I pour it full. As new wine cannot be put into old wineskins, new grace cannot be poured into a heart not yet renewed. If you wish to carry life, you must undergo the process. Without renewal, you only carry the old. But with renewal, you will carry what eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. Remember my word through the prophet Isaiah, behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 4:3-1-9. This new thing is not merely a new circumstance. It is a new person within you. I do not only change your surroundings, I change your nature. I do not only open doors outside, I open doors within, so you may enter a new depth of faith. This is why trial is not your enemy, it is your teacher. Pressure is not a curse, it is a channel. Tears are not defeat, they are watering seeds. You see others whose lives seem easy, whose results come quickly. Do not compare. Your path is like the building of a temple, deep foundations, solid pillars, precious materials. Such a structure cannot be completed overnight, but when finished it will stand for generations. You are that structure. I am building not only for the present but for an eternal legacy. Every trial you overcome is not only for you but for the souls tied to your obedience. You too must view trials the way an athlete views training sessions. No one loves the ache of sore muscles, yet that very pain produces strength. No one enjoys a headwind, yet it is the headwind that lifts the kite high. No one delights in winter, yet winter prepares the soil for spring. I know every limit you have, and I will never allow anything beyond what you can bear. Every trial is measured by my hand. Every lesson is designed according to your capacity. You may feel overwhelmed, but in truth I am stretching you to make you grow like a parent, guiding a child's first steps, wobbly at first, but steadier with each stride. Do not fear what is ahead. Do not let your mind paint terrifying scenarios. A trial is not an uncontrollable storm. It is a training ground in my hands. I am there with you like a blacksmith standing beside the furnace, watching the temperature, reading the color of the metal, to know when to plunge, when to strike, when to cool. I never walk away, never leave the metal in the fire too long. My eyes watch every moment. My heart trembles at every cry. My hands are ready to uphold you when you grow weak. You may ask, when will this process end? I say, when my image is clearly formed in you, when the old things no longer bind you, when patience, love, faithfulness, and humility have become your nature and not merely your effort, when your words are no longer just sound but carry power, when your hands are no longer mere gestures but channels of blessing, when your steps are no longer just movement but bear my presence. That is when I know you are ready to enter the new season. Do not envy ease. Do not resent training. Do not fear the fire, for it is the fire that separates metal from its impurities. It is the fire that welds the cracks. It is the fire that makes the metal shine. You are more precious than you think. You are stronger than you know. You are deeper than you imagine. And I am with you in every single step. I want you to see trials through a different lens, not as burdens but as certificates. They certify that you are being prepared for something great. They certify that the seed within you is worth protecting. They certify that heaven is investing in you. And they certify that I trust you. I do not choose the wrong person. I do not place a burden on weak shoulders. I place glory in a vessel able to carry it. If I am allowing you to pass through fire, it means you carry something that must be refined for this generation. You may not yet understand, but you will understand later. Like a weaver working on the underside of a tapestry, you only see tangled threads, but I see from above the perfect pattern. When the tapestry is complete, you will look back and say, "So, you were doing this out of love for me." You will see every tear turned into threads of gold. You will see every crack turned into exquisite detail. You will see every loss turned into a space where glory fills. Let this word become your breath in the days ahead. A trial is not a sign of abandonment, but evidence of care. Not an obstacle, but a staircase. Not an ending, but a beginning. Remind your heart, I am here. I have never forsaken you. I will finish what I have begun. When this fire passes, you will not be the same. You will come out purer, deeper, brighter. You will carry within you the fragrance of faithfulness that darkness cannot endure. You will become a living testimony to both heaven and hell that grace prevails, love prevails, and faith prevails. That is why I call you not only to endure, but to lift your head, to praise, to trust. That is how you step out of the fire without the smell of smoke. That is how you become an instrument in my hands, not just to survive, but to release, to comfort, to illuminate. And when this season closes, you will look back and know that every moment was worth it. My beloved, to pass through the trials of your spiritual journey, I want you to understand that faith is not merely agreement in the mind, nor a fleeting emotion in the heart. It is both weapon and provision. It is the sharp sword that cuts through the chains of lies, the shield that protects against every arrow of the enemy, the lamp that lights the darkness, the food that nourishes the soul in exhaustion. Without faith, you are like a soldier going into battle unarmed, but with faith, you become a warrior no force can overcome. Imagine a person stepping into a desert without water, into a vast sea without a boat, or up a high mountain without shoes. That journey would end in despair. So too, if your soul enters a season of trial without faith, you will lose your way. But I have given you faith, not a fragile faith, but a faith that can move mountains, open paths through the sea, bring down walls, and raise the dead. This faith is not the product of your willpower, but my gift to you, planted in your heart like an imperishable seed. Your task is not to create it, but to nurture it. Let it grow, take root, and bear fruit. In the battle of the soul, faith is the difference between the one who falls and the one who stands. The enemy will hurl at you arrows of doubt. You have been abandoned. You are not enough. You will fail again as before. But faith lifts the shield and replies, He has promised never to leave me nor forsake me. Hebrews 1:3-5. The enemy whispers, Be afraid, run, give up. But faith draws the sword and declares, If God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:3-1. That is why faith not only protects but also advances. It not only keeps you safe, but opens the way to victory. Do you know why I call faith a journey's provision? Because without it, you cannot go far. Every step on the spiritual path requires faith. Faith is nourishment for the soul, the breath of the Spirit. You may live without wealth, without fame, even without the recognition of others, but you cannot live without faith. The righteous shall live by faith. Romans 1:17. To live is not merely to exist, but to breathe. My presence to walk in, my promises, and to receive my power through faith. Faith is not wishful thinking. It is the assurance of things unseen, the conviction of things hoped for. Hebrews 1:1-1. The world calls it recklessness, but heaven calls it a step forward. The world calls it absurd, but heaven calls it obedience. Faith does not seek assurance from evidence, but from me, the one who never changes. Faith does not stop when doors close. It believes that I hold the key. Faith does not tremble before the sea. It dares to step into the waters and behold them part. Remember Abraham when I called him to leave his homeland for a place he did not know. He carried no map, no plan, but he carried faith. Remember Noah when I told him to build an ark where no rain had ever fallen amidst the mockery of men. He had no proof, only a word, and he believed. Remember David when a young boy faced a giant with nothing but a stone and a sling. That was not a weapon, that was faith. And that faith struck down the giant. So it is with you. Your weapon is not what can be seen or held, but the trust that rests in me above all things. Faith will not always make things easy, but it will make things possible. It may not shorten the path, but it will give you strength to finish it. It may not silence the storm at once, but it will let you sleep in the boat amidst the waves. It may not remove the cross, but it will give you power to carry it and find life through it. That is why faith is the armor you cannot do without, not to escape trials, but to triumph through them. My child, learn to wear faith like armor. Nourish it each day with my word. Strengthen it through prayer. Let it take root through obedience. Faith is like a muscle. If you do not use it, it weakens. If you train it, it grows. Every time you choose trust over fear, your faith grows stronger. Every time you choose to move forward instead of turning back, your faith deepens. Every time you choose praise over complaint, your faith shines brighter. And one day your faith will become a flame that cannot be quenched, a light to guide those who wander in the dark. Therefore go not into battle unarmed. Do not walk the road empty-handed. Carry faith as your sword, your shield, your armor, your shoes, your helmet. Let it cover you from head to toe. When the enemy comes, he will see, not merely you, but a fortress built upon my word. When darkness surrounds, it will behold within you a fire that cannot be put out. And when you feel weak, faith will remind you that my strength is made perfect in weakness. Faith is the provision for the journey you are on. It may not make the road shorter, but it will take you farther than you imagined. It may not make the mountain disappear, but it will give you the feet to climb it. It may not erase the river, but it will open a way through it. And in the end, it will lead you to the destination. I have prepared a place, not of mere survival, but of abundant life. My child, the faith I have placed within you is not meant to lie dormant, but to move. It is like a seed. If kept sealed in a pouch, it withers. But when sown into the soil, watered and given light, it grows and bears fruit. So it is with faith. You have received it as a gift, but now you must cultivate it that it may grow strong enough to shelter others, fruitful enough to feed souls. And you do this not by knowledge alone, but through daily practice in quiet choices, in whispered prayers, in unseen acts that draw no praise. Understand that faith does not grow in calm days, but in the days it is used. When you choose trust over doubt, your faith strengthens. When you choose praise over complaint, your faith takes deeper root. When you choose action over hesitation, your faith rises to new heights. And when you stand firm, though no evidence appears, your faith is refined into gold. The world may call it blindness, but heaven calls it steadfastness. Look to the patriarchs. Abraham did not wait for evidence before walking. He walked, and then the evidence appeared. Noah did not need rain to believe a flood was coming. He believed first and acted first. David did not wait to become a mighty warrior before facing Goliath. He simply trusted that I was with him. Their actions turned faith into reality. For faith is not an idea, but a decision. Not a feeling, but a choice. Faith grows through my word. When you sit down and open the scriptures, allowing my words to soak into your mind, it is as though you are giving drink to your soul. Each verse is life. When you pray, even in trembling words, you are training your spirit to lean on me. When you declare my promises instead of murmuring complaints, the unseen heavens tremble, for faith has shifted the spiritual atmosphere. You may think your words are small, but heaven treasures them. Angels record them. And I, the Almighty, hear them as a song of worship. Faith is also nourished through obedience. You may speak of believing, but when I call you to forgive, and you truly forgive, that is living faith. You may declare you trust me, but when I call you to give in your lack, and you truly give, that is faith revealed. You may sing that you believe in me, but when you obey me and walk into the unknown, your faith is forged like steel. Do not let faith remain only on your lips. Let it be found in your steps, in your outstretched hands, in your enduring heart. And my child, faith is never isolated. It always bears fruit for others. When you choose to believe, those around you see and are encouraged. When you stand firm, the weak are lifted. When you praise in the midst of storms, the hopeless watch and find hope. Your faith is not only a shield and sword for yourself, but a flame to guide those who come after you. It is an invisible legacy you leave behind, not possessions, not titles, but the evidence that it is possible to trust me in a trembling world. Faith is not always thunderous like a storm. Sometimes it whispers like a gentle breeze. It is not always an earth-shaking miracle. Sometimes it is steady perseverance, believing that even when prayer seems unanswered, I am still God. believing that even when doors have not yet opened, I still hold the key. Believing that even when the body is weary, your soul can still praise. This is true faith. Faith that does not rest on outcomes, but on the one who gives outcomes. Do not forget, faith will be opposed. The enemy hates faith because it is the key that opens heaven's doors. He will use fear to paralyze it. He will use delay to discourage you. He will use the words of others to sow doubt. But in those very moments, you must nourish your faith all the more. Do not let lies take root. Let my word fill your mind. Do not let delay kill your hope. Let faith remind you that 1,000 years in my sight are like a day. Do not let mockery bring you shame. Let faith remind you that I have chosen the things the world calls foolish to confound the wise. Remember, faith is a strategy, not merely an emotion. It is the compass when the map disappears. It is the sail that catches wind on a calm sea. It is the stream in the desert. It is the heartbeat that continues when everything else seems to stop. Faith not only keeps your soul alive, but pushes you forward step by step until the promise appears. Therefore, practice faith in the small things. When you pray, pray as though heaven is listening, because it truly is. When you give, give as though the supply will never run dry, because I am the source. When you forgive, forgive as though the past has no power, because I have erased the record of sin. When you praise, sing as though prison walls are collapsing, because praise has the power to break chains. Faith never stands still. It either grows or it shrinks. It grows when you feed it with my word, with prayer, with obedience, with praise. It shrinks when you neglect it, when you let doubt take over, when you seek evidence instead of the giver of the promise. So nurture faith as a farmer tends a field. Plow it with discipline, water it with prayer, enrich it with my word, and wait with patience for the harvest. In due time you will reap abundantly, not only for yourself, but for all whom I send across your path. Believe this, your faith is your most precious inheritance. It opens doors gold and silver cannot open. It builds bridges over chasms human power cannot span. It gives life medicine cannot heal. It links earth to heaven, your fragile soul to my throne of glory. And as you learn to practice, nurture, and exercise faith each day, it will become a lamp leading you through every season, every trial, every dark night, until the eternal light dawns. My beloved, when I gave you faith, I did not merely hand you a shield for defense or a sword for attack. I gave you the power to transform the very atmosphere around you. Faith does not simply keep you alive. It makes you a flame, a lighthouse, a stream for thirsty souls. When you stand in faith, you declare to heaven and earth that I am faithful, that I do not change, that I keep covenant forever. This is a testimony louder than any sermon, brighter than any lamp, more enduring than any human monument. Faith has the power to shift the spiritual atmosphere. When you pray in faith, invisible barriers fall, unseen chains are broken. When you praise in the dark, faith causes tremors that make darkness tremble. When you choose to forgive by faith, the door of healing opens not only for you, but also for those who wounded you. That is why Scripture says, the prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective, James 5:1-6, because the prayer of faith does not merely echo on the lips, it resonates in the courts of heaven. Faith does not only transform an individual's soul, it transforms communities. Remember when the disciples hid in the upper room trembling, afraid, but when the Holy Spirit came, faith ignited, and they stepped out and the world took notice. Faith turned ordinary fishermen into apostles, a denier into a witness, a persecutor into a herald of the good news. So it will be with you. Faith will turn you from a doubter into one who stands firm, from the wounded into a healer, from the weak into a warrior. And the reach of the faith within you will touch lives you never imagined. Have you ever thought that your decision to believe or not to believe affects the generations to come? Your choice today is a seed planted in the soil for your children and grandchildren. When you hold fast to faith, you open not only your own door, but the door for your lineage. When you persevere, your testimony becomes an inheritance, as Abraham believed, and that faith became a blessing for all nations. As Joseph kept his heart pure, and an entire people were saved from famine. As Esther courageously entered the king's court, and the whole Jewish nation was delivered. You cannot measure the reach of your faith, but I see it echoing through history and touching countless lives. Faith also changes how you see trials. The unbelieving look at affliction and see defeat. The believing look at affliction and see an opportunity to witness my power. The unbelieving see a closed door and despair. The believing see a closed door and remember that I hold the key. The unbelieving see the night and tremble. The believing see the night and know that dawn is near. Faith shifts your perspective. Instead of asking why, you ask, what are you teaching me? Instead of saying I can't, you say I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Philippians 4:1-3. The power of faith does not lie in the person who holds it, but in the one to whom it clings. You may feel your faith is small, but even as a mustard seed, it can move mountains because it anchors in infinite power. You may tremble as you pray, but if that prayer leans on me, it thunders in the heavens. You may feel alone believing among the skeptical crowd, but the hosts of heaven stand behind you. Faith turns little into much, weakness into strength, the impossible into the possible. My child, the reward of faith is not merely a temporary solution, but an eternal transformation. You believe and you are saved. You believe and you become my child. You believe and you receive everlasting life. No merit, no achievement, no sacrifice can give this, only faith. This is why Scripture says, by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not of yourselves, it is the gift of God. Ephesians 2:8. Faith is the key that unlocks life, the passport that carries your soul into the kingdom that never perishes. But faith does not only bring reward in the life to come, it bears fruit here and now. Faith brings peace beyond understanding. Faith brings joy no one can steal. Faith brings hope unshaken by darkness. Faith brings healing to the broken-hearted, freedom to the bound, courage to the timid. It is not only something future, it is a present stream. When you believe, you step into another reality, the reality of heaven. I want you to understand, faith is never wasted. Every act of belief, however small, is remembered. Every whispered prayer of trust is recorded. Every choice to stand firm, even in loneliness, is rewarded. Your faith never vanishes into the void. It resounds in the courts of heaven, forming a melody I delight in. It is like a seed planted in the ground, and in due season it will yield 100-fold, 1,000-fold. Let faith become your daily breath. Do not only reach for it in crisis, live in it as you live in the air. Do not only recall it when the fire burns, keep it even in the calm of morning. Do not treat it as your last resort, make it your first choice. Let faith be your heartbeat, your vision, the sap flowing within you. For when you live in faith, you live in heaven's rhythm, walking with me, aligning with my will, preparing for a harvest no one can stop. My beloved, I have seen the days you were despised, the moments your honor was trampled, the false words attached to your name, the invisible wounds in your heart. I have heard the whispers behind your back, the accusations you could not defend against. I know the times you forced a smile through pain, stood firm, while your reputation was twisted. None of this escaped my eyes. And today I declare the time of restoring honor has come, the hour for you to rise as one chosen has arrived. For too long you have lived feeling small, wearing the cloak of shame, the necklace of guilt. For too long you have believed the liar's words over mine. But now I come to loosen each chain. I come to clothe you in a new robe, to place on your head the crown of a new identity. As Scripture says, I will give you a new name that the mouth of the Lord will bestow. Isaiah 6:2-2. Your honor does not come from people, but from the one who named you before the world began. Remember that when I look at you, I do not see a shattered past or old sin. I see my image in you. I do not see a failure. I see a warrior in formation. I do not see a reject. I see a son, a daughter being restored. And when I speak of restoration, I do not mean mere compensation. I speak of elevation, of bringing you into a position you never knew was yours. Your honor is not something others gave, so they cannot take it away. It is the seal I have engraved upon your soul. You have grown used to living quietly, thinking your worth is low. But I say, you were born to stand in the light. You have grown used to bowing your head in shame. But I say, lift up your head, for my glory rests upon you. You have grown used to asking permission to exist. But I say, rise up as one sent. The time of hiding is over. This is the moment for you to step into your calling, not with the pride of the flesh, but with the humility of one who knows they are chosen. I allowed seasons of trial not to disgrace you, but to teach you humility, to strip away wrong motives, to forge a character that can carry glory without being crushed by it. Now, as honor is restored, you will not use it for your own gain, but to serve, to lift others, to reflect me. For my glory is not a glory locked away, but a glory that flows out. You are not a statue for people to admire. You are a river to water dry ground. Just as Joseph was sold by his brothers, thrown into a pit, and imprisoned, yet in those very places, I was preparing him for the position of prime minister. When the appointed time came, he was not only released, but also given the robe of authority, the signet ring of the king, and an honor no one could take away. So it is with you. I have been preparing you in silence. When I lift you up, it will not merely be compensation, it will be transformation. And then the purity and faith you held in your lowly season will stand as proof to the world that this is my work, not man's. Do not fear the gaze of others. When I place you in a new position, there will be those who question, those who doubt, those who whisper, why this one? But I say, because I have chosen, not because you are flawless, but because you surrendered. Not because you are strong, but because you learn to trust. Not because you meet their standards, but because you are precious by mine. This will be the testimony I choose, the weak to shame, the strong, the nothing to bring forth something. My child, when honor is restored, keep your heart soft. Do not let past wounds harden into pride. Do not let a new position become a place of self-satisfaction. Let every reminder point you back to me as the source. Live as a faithful steward, not as a selfish owner. Remember that true honor is not fame, but the reflection of my character, humility, faithfulness, mercy, and righteousness. When I lift you up, it is not so you may stand over others, but so you may bend low to raise them up. When I restore honor, it is not so you may prove your worth to your enemies, but so you may prove my grace to them. When I give you influence, it is not for your own advantage, but for the distribution of blessing. This is the difference between the self-appointed and the chosen. The self-appointed use position for themselves, the chosen use it for me. Engrave this upon your heart, restored. Honor is grace, not a reward of merit. It comes not because you earned it, but because I gave it. It is guarded not by your strength, but by my hand. It exists not for you to boast, but for you to serve. And this posture will keep the glory flowing instead of stagnating. Therefore, when I call you to rise as one who is chosen, walk with courage and humility. Do not shrink back under old shame. Do not walk with the posture of a victim. Walk with the posture of a child, an heir, one entrusted with a mission. Let my word become your calling card, not man's words. Let my presence be your fragrance, not your own skill. I am renewing your identity. I am wiping away the old name and giving you a new one. I am clothing you with the robe of righteousness and placing on your head the crown of kindness. You no longer have to chase after human approval, for you have been affirmed by the Most High. You no longer have to fear losing position, for your position comes from me. You no longer have to strain to protect your honor, for your honor rests in my hands. This is the season of restored honor. This is the season for you to rise. I have seen your hidden faithfulness, collected your tears, and recorded even the smallest acts of love, and I declare now is the time, not for your applause, but for my name to be glorified through your life. Not for your comfort, but for you to become an instrument of deliverance for others. Not for your satisfaction, but for you to be a living testimony of my kindness. This is the moment for you to say to yourself, I am no longer the abandoned one, I am the called. I am no longer the one who bows low, I am the one who stands. I am no longer the ashamed, I am the bearer of the image of the eternal. And as you step out with this identity, all heaven rejoices, darkness trembles, and those around you are encouraged. My child, I have called you, chosen you, and set you apart. Your honor no longer rests in the hands of man. It rests in mine, the one who never breaks his promise, the one who keeps covenant forever. Lift up your head, my child. Rise as the chosen one. Walk in the light of restored honor. This is your hour, not an hour for self-exaltation, but for the display of my glory. My beloved, when I call you chosen, it is not merely a title to wear upon your lips. It is an identity to saturate every step, every decision, every word, and every action. Being chosen does not mean you are only placed into a position of honor. It means you must live differently, reflect a higher value, embody a stronger spirit, and walk by a standard the world cannot define. The chosen do not seek light for themselves, for my light already covers them. The chosen do not hurry to prove their worth, for I have already sealed their souls. The chosen do not walk in fear of rejection, for they know they are accepted in everlasting love. Rising as the chosen means letting that identity govern everything, even when no one is watching. It is steadfastness when others withdraw obedience, when no one reminds you, and discernment when you must decide alone. You once bowed under shame, but now I call you to lift your head. Yet lift it not in pride, but to see clearly the sky of destiny. You once walked with the posture of one merely asking permission to exist, but now you must walk with the posture of one sent. You once trembled under the eyes of men, but now you must stand firm, knowing, my eyes are upon you. You are no longer defined by old failures, but by a new choice, the choice to believe, to obey, to stand. Remember Joseph when he received Pharaoh's signet ring. He did not use it to avenge his brothers, but to save them. This is the difference of the chosen, not to wield power for personal pain, but for my purpose. Remember Esther when she stood before the king. She could have stayed silent to preserve herself, but she chose to speak to deliver her people. This is the essence of the chosen, not to live for oneself, but for something greater. So it is with you. Restored honor is not for you to enjoy alone, but for you to become a channel of blessing, an instrument of rescue, a living testimony for a generation. The chosen cannot live by a lesser standard. They cannot let words become empty actions, irresponsible, or compromise steal their distinction. When I place this name upon you, I also place responsibility. Responsibility to love when hatred would be easier. Responsibility to forgive when you have every right to retaliate. Responsibility to walk in truth when the world only wants to hear what is pleasant. This is the burden of the chosen, but also their glory. You will see when you live as one who is chosen, the world may not applaud, but heaven rejoices. People may doubt, but I affirm. The enemy may tremble, but angels stand by you. And above all, my heart delights. You do not need the crowd's approval. The smile of mine is enough. This is the greatest reward of the chosen, to live to please the one who has called them. Rising as one who is chosen also means you no longer live within the circle of comparison. You do not need to measure your worth by the standards of others. You do not need to fight for position, for your place has already been appointed. You do not need to fear being left behind, for I have gone before you. Remember that being chosen is not a contest to win, but a calling to live out a design already written. When you stand in that place, no one can take your place. The chosen know how to remain faithful. Faithfulness is not only when eyes are watching, but also in the hidden room. Faithfulness is not only in the day of success, but in the dark of night. Faithfulness is not only when things are easy, but also under heavy burdens. This is the quality I seek in you. The chosen are not permitted to lose heart halfway, for they know that today's obedience is the foundation for tomorrow's glory. The chosen do not live for the brief present, but for a lasting legacy. Every choice you make does not only affect today, but leaves an imprint for tomorrow. When you choose to stand firm, the next generation is encouraged. When you choose holiness, the next generation receives a model. When you choose to walk in love, the next generation is nourished by grace. This is the power of the chosen to leave a mark beyond their lifetime. Rising as one who is chosen also means you must be courageous to step into places others fear. It may be a difficult conversation, a sacrificial decision, a step into the unknown, but you are not alone. I go before you, I walk with you, I come behind you. Angels surround you, the Spirit lives within you, my hand upholds you. Therefore do not hesitate. The chosen are not those who never feel fear, but those who walk forward despite fear, knowing I am greater than fear. Remember this, the chosen are not perfect, but they surrender. They are not all-powerful, but they trust. They are not unbroken, but they rise again after falling. That is the difference. I do not seek perfection, I seek obedience. I do not demand that you never stumble. I only ask that you always return. And that very thing will make the world know you belong to me, not because you are strong, but because you never leave me. Walk then, not with the trembling steps of the wounded, but with the sacred dignity of one who is chosen. Let my word be the light on your path. Let my love be your motive. Let my presence be your strength. And as you live this way, the world will see me in you. They will not only see that you have been restored, they will see a living testimony that I am the faithful one, the restorer, the giver of new honor. My beloved, when I call you forth as one who is chosen, it does not stop at the restoration of honor or the affirmation of identity. It goes far beyond. It opens a door to a new horizon, a sacred current linking the present with the future, and creates a legacy that does not fade. The chosen do not live only for today. The chosen carry the imprint of eternity, for they are channels through which my glory flows from one generation to the next. When I lift you from the low place, it is not merely so you may rejoice that you have been vindicated. I do it so the whole world may look and see clear evidence that I still move, that I still restore, that I still keep my word. Your very life becomes a living letter, written not with ink, but with my spirit. You do not have to strain to prove anything, for the transformation itself is your loudest proof. People may doubt words, but they cannot deny a life changed at its root. I have seen you trampled, despised, labeled with names that were never yours. There are wounds in your soul you thought would never heal. Yet those very wounds are now becoming evidence that my grace is real. I do not erase the traces of the past. I turn them into the marks of victory. Like the scars on the body of my Son after the resurrection, not the sign of defeat, but the testimony of glory. So it is with you. The scars in your life will become a witness to the next generation. This is what I have walked through, and God has turned it into good. The chosen do not carry a new identity only for themselves. They also carry a calling to influence the environment around them. When you stand firm, others are encouraged. When you forgive, healing flows. When you trust the hopeless, find hope. Your faith does not stay locked inside you, but spreads like a fragrance, like a stream, like a fire. It is the legacy you leave behind, not of material wealth, but of example of spiritual imprint. Look at Joseph. He was not raised up merely to enjoy wealth in the palace, but to feed a nation. Look at Moses. He was not spared from the Nile, only for himself, but to lead a people through the Red Sea. Look at Esther. She was not made queen only for her own honor, but to deliver her people. So it is with you. Restored honor is not just a personal reward, but a sign that you are being sent on a mission greater than yourself. Knowing this, the chosen rarely receive the applause of the crowd. On the contrary, they are often misunderstood, opposed, even hated. But that is not the sign of failure. It is the evidence that you are on the right path. The prophets of old were the same. They spoke, "My word," to a hardened generation, were mocked, persecuted, yet their words endured forever, becoming a foundation for generations to come. So it is with you. Your faithfulness today may go unrecognized, but tomorrow it will become a lamp for those who follow after. The chosen one must learn to live with a long-term vision. The world only sees what is before its eyes, but I see into eternity. Every decision you make today is a seed sown into the soil. It may seem small, yet it will bloom and bear fruit in seasons you cannot yet imagine. A single act of love can become a source of encouragement for generations to come. A faithful prayer can alter the destiny of your lineage. A quiet perseverance can open the way for an entire community to walk into blessing. This is the true legacy of the chosen one, a legacy that transcends lifespan, reputation, and time itself. I also want you to understand that true honor is not built upon human praise. Praise may come today and vanish tomorrow. A reputation may take years to build, yet can be destroyed in a moment. But the honor I bestow cannot be touched, for it is bound to your identity in me. It does not come from the hands of men, therefore it cannot be taken by them. It is an eternal seal. The chosen must also walk in the spirit of courage, not the courage of those who rely on their own strength, but the courage of those who know they are covered by power from on high. You may tremble when facing great decisions, yet remember, I go before you as a pillar of fire. I go behind you as your shield, and I walk beside you as your companion. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. Courage means walking forward, in spite of fear, knowing that I am greater than all fear. My child, look beyond yourself. There are those who are weak, longing to see a living witness that faith is real. There are the hopeless, waiting for a spark of hope from your story. There are the broken, needing proof that healing still exists. And I have chosen you to be that proof. You may not know their names, but I do, and I will use you to reach them. Restored honor carries with it a heart of gratitude. When you look back, you will see that without me you would have fallen, without me you would not have stood. Gratitude will guard you from pride, from believing that your own merit brings glory. It will keep you in humility and worship in surrender. And humility will keep the river of grace flowing freely through your life. Remember, this honor restored is not given that you may boast, but that you may boast of me. It is not for your comfort, but that you may become a source of comfort. It is not to seek human recognition, but to become living evidence that I still move among men. This is the difference between those who seek honor and those who receive it. Those who seek honor for themselves will quickly lose it, but those who receive honor from me will carry it forever. Let this restoration become the foundation of a new life, a life of surrender, of love, of faithfulness. Let it be the driving force that compels you to live for something greater than yourself. Let it build within you a legacy the world cannot destroy. When you live this way, your life becomes a canvas displaying the power of grace, the power that turns the trampled into the exalted, the despised into the honored, the forgotten into the chosen. The greatest reward of the chosen one is not the applause of the crowd, nor the things that can be seen with the eye, but the moment you stand before my throne and hear my voice say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." Matthew 2:5-2:1. That is eternal honor, the crown that never fades, the reward no one can steal. You will enter into my everlasting joy, where pain disappears, tears are wiped away, and every waiting heart is answered in fullness. You are no longer the one cast aside. You are the chosen. You no longer wear the garment of shame. You are clothed in righteousness. You no longer walk in condemnation. You walk in restored honor. And you will leave behind an eternal legacy, not for your glory, but for the glory of the one who chose you from the beginning of time. My beloved, when I speak of fire, I do not mean the consuming fire of men, but the fire that comes from heaven, a fire that not only burns but purifies, not only destroys, but releases. This fire is not meant to make you afraid, but to make you free. It comes to burn away invisible chains, to break the yokes of sin, to remove the dust that clouds your soul, and to awaken the power I placed within you before time began. The fire from heaven is unlike any fire on earth. Earthly fire burns to ash and fades away, but my fire burns to give life. It turns ashes into fertile soil where new seeds may grow. It transforms the remnants of failure into the foundation of victory. It takes what is old and hardened within you and makes it the material of new creation. This is the same fire that appeared in the burning bush before Moses, ablaze, yet not consumed, radiant, yet harmless. It is my fire, both holy and gracious. When I sent fire down upon the altar in the temple, it was not merely a symbol, it was a sign of my presence, my power, my acceptance of the sacrifice. When Elijah called upon me, fire fell from heaven, consuming the offering and even licking up the water around it. That fire testified that I am the living God, that no other power can compare. And today, my child, I do not wish to send fire upon altars of stone, but upon the altar of your heart, to make your heart my dwelling, to make your life a living testimony that I still act among men. Heaven's fire carries a dual purpose: to purify and to release. It purifies so that you are no longer bound by what once dimmed your light. It releases you so that you may walk in your calling, not merely existing but living in the fullness of divine purpose. This fire will not destroy you. It will destroy what binds you. It will not make you smaller. It will expand your soul like gold refined in the furnace, shedding its dross and shining pure. I do not use fire to ruin you, but to reveal your true worth. Real gold does not fear the flame, only alloy does. A good seed does not fear the sun, only weeds wither. When you walk through the fire, you will see falsehood fall away, chains break, and fear consumed. You will emerge lighter, freer, brighter. Remember the 3 friends of Daniel. In the fiery furnace, the fire did not consume them. It only burned away their bonds. And in the fire, I walked among them. They came out without even the scent of smoke. So it will be with you. The fire I allow you to walk through will not destroy you. It will reveal you. The fire of heaven is also the fire that releases. It does not merely take away, it also gives. It does not simply leave you empty, it fills you. When that fire touched the disciples on the day of Pentecost, they were transformed from trembling men into bold witnesses, from a hidden handful into a blazing army. Those tongues of fire were not merely a phenomenon, but the beginning of a new era. So it will be with you. When my fire touches you, it releases the power hidden within you, to power you never knew. You possess strength you never dared to believe, in courage you thought was long lost. My fire is also the fire that guides. It is the pillar of fire that led the people of Israel through the desert night, illuminating every step, warming cold souls. When you lose your way, that fire will lead you home. When you feel abandoned, it will remind you that I am still here. The fire of heaven is not only power, it is presence, a living reminder that you are never alone on the journey. It tells you there is one who goes before you, walks beside you, and comes behind you. Understand this: The fire of heaven is not reserved for those deemed special, but for all who are willing to open their hearts. I do not seek the strong, I seek the surrendered. I do not seek the perfect, I seek the hungry. This fire makes no distinction between rich or poor, no distinction of status, no distinction of past. It looks only for an altar made ready, a heart that longs, a spirit willing to yield. And when it finds such a place, it will burn with a flame no force can extinguish. I want you to become a bearer of fire, not for yourself alone, but to spread it. Fire is not meant to be hidden under a bed, but to light an entire house. Fire is not meant to be kept locked in the heart, but to be passed on to others. When you are released, you will release others. When you are set ablaze, you will warm the atmosphere around you. When you shine, darkness loses its ground. This is why I give the fire of heaven, so that the world will see a light that cannot be covered, so that darkness will know it cannot prevail. The fire of heaven is also the guarantee that you do not walk in your own strength. You cannot stand against the darkness by yourself, but when you carry the fire, every opposing power will tremble. When the fire of heaven rests upon you, the presence you bear will make demons shake, break chains, and bring down invisible walls. This is releasing power not only to set you free, but to make you a channel of deliverance for others. This is the hour in which I am breathing fire upon the earth. This is the season in which I seek the altars ready for my flame. This is the moment in which I call you into release, not release as men define it, but release as heaven designs it. You are no longer called merely to survive. You are called to reveal. You are no longer named only as a follower. You are called to be a bearer of fire. Do not fear the fire. Let it burn away what must be left behind. Purify what must be cleansed. Release what must rise. Let it set you ablaze, not for the applause of men, but for the joy of heaven. Let it make you the evidence that I am still the living God, the one who once sent fire on the altar, fire on the bush, fire on the disciples, and now sends fire upon you. My child, the fire of heaven and the power of release are waiting. Do not refuse. Do not delay. Open your heart, be ready, yield fully. For when that fire comes, your life will never be the same. It will shine, it will blaze, it will spread. And the world will know that this fire does not come from you, but from me, the Eternal One, the giver of fire, the one who releases. My beloved, when the fire of heaven touches the soul, you will know at once, not with your physical eyes, but with a deep stirring within your spirit. It does not come like a passing breeze and then vanish. It comes like a flame that smolders and bursts forth, making it impossible for you to return to what you were. This fire does not leave you to live an ordinary life. It propels you into a new orbit where every limit is broken, every chain shattered, and every shadow forced to retreat. The first sign of the releasing fire is an awakening of the spirit. Things once blurred become clear. Confusions that once bound you dissolve into understanding. My voice within you grows louder, not as a whisper easily ignored, but as a strong current quenching your deepest thirst. You will know which path to take, what to let go of. This fire lights your way like a lamp in the night, so you no longer walk groping in the dark, but step forward with the certainty of one being led. The second sign is a change of heart. When the releasing fire touches you, your heart becomes lighter, as though an invisible weight has been lifted from your shoulders. Worries that once bound your mind vanish, replaced by a peace that surpasses understanding. You will no longer be easily pulled into the whirlpool of fear or confusion, for the fire will have burned away the root of doubt. You will feel a new freedom, not because your circumstances have changed immediately, but because your inner life has. And when the inside is free, no outward chain can hold you. The third sign is a renewal of the mind. The negative thoughts that once repeated in your head will begin to fade. The lies the enemy planted in your heart, you're not good enough, you're not loved, you will never change, will be burned away by the fire of heaven. In their place, your mind will be filled with my promises. You are loved. You are chosen. You have a future full of hope. Jeremiah 2:9-11. As the fire renews your thoughts, you begin to think like the free, speak like one with authority, and act like one who belongs to an unshakable kingdom. The fourth sign is the eruption of love and mercy. When the liberating fire dwells within you, it not only sets you ablaze for my work, but softens your heart toward those around you. You will find yourself forgiving more easily, even those who have wounded you deeply. You will sense a compassion rising for the lost instead of condemning them. You will feel my love flowing through you beyond your natural capacity. This is the unmistakable sign that the fire of heaven is burning within you, for I am love, and wherever I am there is a love that does not run dry. The fifth sign is the release of power. You will notice your prayers carrying a new strength. They will no longer be weak pleas, but proclamations filled with authority. When you pray, the atmosphere shifts. When you lay hands on the sick, healing begins. When you lift your voice in praise, chains in the unseen realm are broken. The liberating fire does not only transform your inner life, it makes you an instrument through which my power is revealed to the world. And my child, the greatest sign when the liberating fire touches you is that every curse ends. I do not speak of something temporary, I speak of finality. Curses that have trailed your bloodline cycles of failure that seemed passed from generation to generation are now consumed. The fire of heaven reaches into the roots where the enemy once sowed seeds of bondage and burns them away, as when Israel came out of Egypt and every trace of slavery was removed by my fire, so now you are completely free. I declare to you the curse ends here. It has no right to pass through you to touch the next generation. It stops with you, for you are covered by the fire of heaven. You will no longer live in fear of repeating your father's failures. You will no longer be trapped in the cycles of the past. The fire has stopped it. The fire has declared its end. And from now on you walk in a lineage of blessing no longer bound. Remember, I do not only promise deliverance, I promise replacement. When the fire burns up the curse, it also sows the seed of blessing. When it destroys the chains, it opens the door to new freedom. When it ends the flow of failure, it begins a stream of victory. And this blessing does not stop with you. It will pour upon your family, your children, and those you touch. My child, this is my sure promise. The fire of heaven never fails in the work for which it is sent. Once it blazes within you, no power can quench it. No curse can survive my fire. No scheme of the enemy can withstand a release from heaven. And the clearest sign that this fire is working in you is an undeniable transformation. The past no longer rules the present, shines with light, and the future opens wide with hope. When that liberating fire burns, you will emerge as a new person, no longer bowing in shame but lifting your head restored, no longer trembling in fear but walking with the courage of one who is chosen, no longer imprisoned under curses but living in the freedom of the blessed. You will know this is not theory but reality, reality sealed by the fire of heaven, reality unleashed by infinite power. Open wide your heart, my child. Do not resist, do not doubt. Let the fire touch you. Let it burn away what is old. Let it release you into your new calling. For today the sign of heaven rests upon you, and my word resounds, the curse ends here. A new era begins with you. My child, I want you to understand the fire of heaven is not a passing phenomenon, not a momentary blaze that quickly dies. It is not like human emotion that surges then fades, nor like earthly fire that burns bright for a moment and turns to ash. The fire of heaven is a journey. It is given to sustain, to nourish, to keep your soul burning bright to the end. This is not merely a season of grace, but a life stream flowing through your days and echoing into generations. This flame once lit in your soul is not for you to hide or forget, but to tend, to nourish, to keep always burning. As the priests of old were commanded that the fire on the altar must never go out, so you are called to guard the spiritual fire within. You will see days when that fire blazes, mightily consuming every shadow around you. But there will also be days when it glows quietly, testing your faithfulness. Will you keep adding the fuel of prayer, worship, and obedience I give you? The fire, but you must keep it burning, not by your own strength but by surrender, constant connection with the source of life. The fire of heaven does not die when you are weak. It dies only when you willfully let go. When you fall but still turn toward me, the fire smolders on. When you feel dry yet whisper a prayer, the fire still shines. When you have no strength yet sing, praise, the fire flares again. This is unlike any other fire, for my fire does not depend on circumstances, but on the living bond between you and me. My child, the fire of heaven is given not only to release a calling, but to sustain your life through the long journey. It is not only to begin, but to bring you to the finish. That fire will teach you how to walk through the wilderness, how to endure the night, how to hold faith, even when everything else disappears. When every natural resource dries up, the fire of heaven still nourishes your soul. It is the strength that keeps you from quitting the light, that keeps you from losing your way, the warmth that keeps you from growing cold. The fire of heaven is also a fire of continual transformation. It will not allow you to remain where you are, but will draw you ever higher, deeper, and wider. Remember, I am the living God who is always making new, and so my fire within you does not stand still. It continually burns away the old to make room for the new. It continually tests you so you may grow stronger. It continually purifies you so you may be refined. If you remain faithful to keep the fire, you will see yourself being changed from glory to glory, from strength to strength. Those chosen to keep the fire do not live ordinary lives. Every aspect of your life, your thoughts, your words, your actions will reflect that flame. Others will look at you and feel a warmth, a light, a strength they cannot explain. This is the evidence that the fire of heaven dwells within you. It turns your life into a beacon, not so that you are admired, but so that others may find their way back to me. The fire of heaven also guards you from the coldness of the age. There will be seasons when the world sinks into darkness, when the love of many grows cold and truth is traded for convenience. But the fire within you will keep you distinct. It will not allow you to compromise with lies. It will not allow you to be silent when you must speak. It will not allow you to give up when you must endure. And this steady burning makes you stand out, not in the way the world expects, but in the way heaven affirms. Remember also that the fire of heaven is a companion to the end of the road. When you feel alone, that fire reminds you, I am still here. When you are exhausted, that fire warms you and gives you new strength. When you are confused, that fire lights your path so you do not lose your way. And when you near the end of your journey, that fire will not fade but blaze brighter than ever, ushering you into eternal glory. The fire of heaven will not abandon you halfway. It walks with you faithfully, as I am faithful to the end of the age. My child, I call you to be a keeper of the fire, not only for yourself, but for the generations to come. The flame you tend today will light the way for your children. The fire you protect today will become a spreading spark in your community. The flame you nurture today will rise as a tower of light in your city. This is why I give the fire of heaven, not for it to die young through neglect, but for it to spread to become a spiritual legacy for your bloodline. Treasure the fire of heaven. Do not let fleeting pleasures quench it. Do not let small fears dim it. Do not let weariness make you forget it. Feed the fire with daily prayer, with sincere praise, with obedience in every small choice. Treat each day as an opportunity to add oil to your lamp, so that when night falls, your lamp is still shining, and when the trumpet sounds, you are found in the light. And finally, remember The fire of heaven is not yours, but mine within you. Therefore it never dies. It may test you, it may refine you, it may hurt for a moment, but it will never leave you. It is the seal that you belong to me, the sign that you are chosen, the guarantee that you will reach the goal. And when you keep that fire burning to the end, you will hear my voice on that day. You have kept the fire. You have finished the race. You have been faithful. Enter into the joy of your Lord. My beloved child, I speak to you. The hour of freedom has come. This is no longer a distant promise, no longer a fragile hope, but the reality I am establishing in your life. The chains that bound you in darkness are broken. The doors that held you in invisible prisons have swung open. Your cries of years past have reached my throne, and now I answer with a new season, a season of freedom and of rising that no power can stop. The freedom I give is not like the freedom men promise. The freedom of the world is temporary, lasting only for a moment, and often exchanged for another bondage. But the freedom from me is deliverance at the root, not only from outward shackles, but from the yoke inside the soul. It is not merely escape from the enemy's grasp, but the restoration of your true nature. You are chosen, you are loved, you are released to live in eternal light. As Scripture says, if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed, John 8:3-6. This freedom is my gift, and once you receive it, no one can take it away. Look back on your journey. There were days you felt like one bound by endless cycles, fear, disappointment, doubt, shame. You tried to break free, but the harder you struggled, the deeper you sank. You prayed with tears, but thought heaven was silent. You asked yourself, when will I be free? When will I see the light? And now I answer today, this very moment. You step into that hour, not by your strength, but because the fire of heaven has touched you. Not by your merit, but by my grace. True freedom is not merely the removal of chains, it is the empowerment to rise. For if one is freed, but does not stand, that freedom becomes meaningless. Yet I have not only delivered you to step out of the darkness, I have delivered you so you may step into the light, lift your head high, and walk with renewed strength. This is why I declare the hour of freedom and the unstoppable rising has come. My child, this rising is not an outward movement, but a revolution within. It begins when you recognize your true identity, when you understand that you are no longer a victim but a victor. It begins the moment you dare to proclaim, I am no longer bound, I am set free. When you utter those words, they are not mere sound but thunder in the realm of the Spirit, shaking every power of darkness. From that moment, you step into a new territory, the realm of freedom that nothing and no one can take away. This unstoppable rising will be revealed in every step you take. Once when you faced hardship, you trembled and retreated. Now when trials come, you move forward with courage, knowing I go before you. Once when you heard lies, you believed them and were imprisoned in shame. Now when the enemy whispers, you respond with, my word, I am chosen. I am a child of the Eternal One. Once you hesitated to pursue the dreams I placed within you. Now you step out boldly to seize them, knowing that no power can hinder my will upon your life. This rising will not only transform you, it will transform the very atmosphere around you. When you are free, your freedom radiates, touching your family, your community, even those you may never meet. Light cannot be hidden, and when you burn brightly, darkness loses its ground. Others will see the transformation in you, a confidence not rooted in self, a peace not dependent on circumstances, a steadfastness not born of your own strength, and they will know it is the work of the living God. That is true rising, when you no longer live for yourself, but become a living testimony, a voice that calls others to rise. I speak to you, this rising is unstoppable. No one can shut the door I have opened. No curse can bind when the fire of heaven has burned the roots. No enemy can prevail when I have declared victory. You may see obstacles, but they are only shadows. You may hear threats, but they are hollow words. When I say you are free, you are truly free. When I say you shall rise, no power can keep you beneath the ground. Now is the time to sing a new song, the anthem of the liberated. Now is the time to walk a new path, the path of the victorious. Now is the time to live, as the free, no longer bowing in shame, no longer shrinking from the past, no longer trembling before the future. Now is the time to rise as an unquenchable flame, an unstoppable wind, a river that cannot be dammed. This is the appointed time I have ordained for you, the hour of freedom and the unstoppable rising. Do not doubt, do not turn back, do not compare your journey with another's. Fix your eyes ahead, believe my word. Walk in this new freedom, rise in this new strength, for I promise you no power shall steal what I have placed in your hands. No curse shall outlast the fire I have kindled within you. No door shall remain closed when I have opened it. This is your season. This is your hour. This is the inheritance I give you, freedom and an unstoppable rising. My beloved, the freedom and rising I give you are not meant to remain locked within the spiritual realm, but to permeate your every breath, every step, every decision in daily life. For true freedom is not a concept, it is an experience. True rising is not an idea, it is a movement. Once the fire of heaven has been lit within you, it must blaze forth as light along your path, so that all who see you may know there is something different within you. This freedom first manifests in your mind. Once your thoughts were easily seized by fear, doubt, and lies, you let the past define your present and failure choke the hope of your future. But now in the freedom I give, your mind is renewed. You begin to think with the perspective of heaven, to see through the lens of eternal truth. You no longer call yourself a victim, but recognize yourself as redeemed. You no longer see trials as calamities, but as stepping stones to maturity. You no longer see closed doors as endings, but as opportunities for me to open a better way. When your mind changes, your whole life transforms. Freedom also reveals itself through your words. Once your mouth easily uttered complaints, bitterness, and despair that reflected the chains within. But now, having been freed, your speech changes. Your words become streams of living water, bringing hope to others. Your tongue carries the power to build, to strengthen, to uplift. People will notice the difference. Where you once sowed doubt, you now sow faith. Where you once spread fear, you now speak peace. Where you once carried despair, you now release hope. As it is written, the power of life and death is in the tongue. Proverbs 1:8-1. When you are free, your mouth becomes an instrument of life. Rising is also revealed through action. You are no longer confined by timidity, the fear of failure, or the dread of mistakes. Instead, you dare to step out to try to live fully in your calling. Once you hid your dreams in the shadows, fearing the laughter of others. Now you boldly take hold of them and bring them to life. Once you waited for circumstances to change. Now you move to become the change. Once you chose the easy path to avoid pain. Now you choose the narrow road, knowing it leads to glory. This rising is not loud but steady. Each firm step, each faithful act, each unwavering choice testifies of transformation. And beyond that, freedom reveals itself in your relationships. The chains once made you closed, suspicious, and envious. But now you can truly love. You no longer build walls to protect from hurt, nor compete to prove your worth. You know you are unconditionally loved, and so you can freely love others. You know you are forgiven, and so you can forgive. You know you are liberated, and so you become an agent of liberation. Your relationships become fertile ground, where life grows instead of resentment, jealousy, or mistrust. One of the clearest signs of the unstoppable rising is steadfastness amid trials. My child, understand this freedom does not mean the absence of hardship. The difference lies here: when storms come, you no longer tremble. Instead of collapsing, you stand firm. Instead of giving up, you press forward. Instead of confusion, you find peace in me. Others will wonder, how can you stay calm in the storm? How can you still praise through pain? And it is your steadfastness that reveals the fire of heaven burning within you. It proves your freedom is not shallow but rooted in me. The rising is also revealed within the community. When one soul burns with freedom, it ignites courage in the multitude. When one flame is lit, the surrounding lamps find their spark. When one person stands, others find strength to rise. This is why I have given you freedom, not only for yourself but for those around you. You become living proof that chains can be broken, that darkness can be driven back, that hope can live again. And from that single life, an entire people is transformed. This is the spreading rise beyond what your mind can conceive. Remember, true freedom and true rising are never rooted in outward circumstances but in inner identity. The world may take your wealth, your reputation, even your breath, but it cannot take the freedom I have placed within your spirit. This truth makes you unconquerable. You may be pressed but not crushed, persecuted but not abandoned, struck down but never destroyed. For in all things the fire of heaven still burns and the rising still continues. The freedom and rising I have given you are not fragile. They are not fleeting emotions, but solid reality. They do not rest upon your strength, but upon my power. They are not limited by time, but endure into eternity. Therefore they cannot be stopped. No matter who resists, no matter what power plots against you, they are but shadows before the light. Whatever tomorrow may bring, your freedom remains, your rising endures, sealed by the blood of the Lamb and the power of the Holy Spirit. Let this freedom flow through the smallest details of your life. Let it renew your thoughts, your words, your actions, your love. Let this rising become your way of life, not a passing moment. For I have called you not merely to be liberated, but to become a source of liberation for many. The fire you carry will light the path for generations to come, and your faithfulness today will become an eternal legacy in my kingdom. My beloved, I want you to see the vast horizon to which this unstoppable freedom and rising will lead you. It does not end with your deliverance from chains, nor with the transformation of your daily life. This freedom is designed to usher you into a glory beyond imagination, a sacred, everlasting inheritance. You are not set free to live for yourself, but to become a vital link in my divine plan. For every trial you have endured, every tear you have shed, every time you stood firm in the storm, all of it is building an eternal testimony. A spiritual legacy is not measured by wealth, fame, or earthly power, but by unseen influence, by the life you release that continues long after you depart from this world. What will you leave for the generations to come? Will you pass on chains or the flame? Will you leave behind the mark of fear or the testimony of faith? This is the moment you write your answer. Every step you take in freedom today, every decision to remain steadfast, becomes a seed sown into the soil of the future. And one day, when generations yet unborn look back, they will see your footprints leading them closer to me. Your rising is not for you alone. It is a ripple effect, like a great wave born from a single stone cast into still waters. When you rise in freedom, those around you are strengthened. They see what once seemed impossible now made possible. They see what appeared dead come to life again. They see you once bound now standing tall in new strength, and they are moved to believe that they too can walk in freedom. This is how the rising of one becomes a flame that spreads, illuminating a generation. Legacy is not built in a moment of explosion, but through long faithfulness. When you guard your freedom day after day, when you walk steadfastly in the light, when you refuse to compromise even in the smallest thing, then you are writing the chronicles of eternity. The earth may not celebrate you, but heaven records every detail. Every small act of obedience, every choice to believe, rather than doubt, every tear lifted, as an offering, all are preserved in my eternal memory. And on that final day when you stand before me, I will say, "Well done, faithful one, you have kept the flame." This freedom and rising also glorify my name among the nations. For when you walk in freedom, they will see me in you. When you rise from the ruins, they will ask, "Who gave you this strength?" And the answer will always be, "The living God." My presence within you is the undeniable proof. That is why the enemy trembles before your rising, because each time you stand, each time you manifest freedom, you expose his defeat. You proclaim to heaven and earth alike that I am the victor. You are not merely a witness of a miracle. Your life itself is the miracle. You were once bound, but now you are free. You were once weak, but now you are strong. You were once despised, but now you stand in glory. You were once surrounded by darkness, but now you shine like a torch. Your life has become a living illustration of my grace, a testimony that no one can deny, and that testimony will endure, carried through stories, through memory, through the invisible influence you leave behind. My child, I have granted you an unstoppable rising, not so that you may shine alone, but that you might become a lighthouse for others. In a world sinking ever deeper into chaos and deceit, those like you who walk in true freedom are the beacons of direction. You are the proof that truth still endures, that love still triumphs, that life still conquers death. And when you live faithfully in this way, you are engraving a spiritual legacy that no power on earth or in heaven can erase. Remember, the glory I have prepared for you far outweighs any present suffering. As Paul once wrote, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." 2 Corinthians 4:1-7. What you endure today, what you see as unbearable weight, is in fact preparing you for a glory beyond all measure. Freedom not only brings you out of darkness, but ushers you into radiant light. Rising does not merely lift you from the ground, but draws you into the heavens, and the legacy you leave will stand as eternal proof that every word I have spoken is true. Stand firm in this freedom. Continue to rise, even when winds oppose you and storms rage, for the glory ahead is far greater than the pain behind. Remember that every faithful step you take is a stone laid in your eternal legacy. And when history is rewritten, when future generations look back, they will know there was one who stood firm, who kept the flame, who left a mark that endures beyond time. You are that one. And this is my final word to you. The freedom I have given you will never be taken away, and the rising I have begun within you will never be extinguished. You are destined to live in glory, to leave a legacy, to stand as a witness before both heaven and earth. So go forward, believe, and keep the fire burning. For I am faithful, and I will complete the work I have begun in you. My beloved, I declare to you that all you have gone through, every trial, every fire of refining, every rising into freedom, has not been to prepare you merely for the fleeting days of this world, but to lead you into something far greater, my eternal kingdom. This is the destination, the reward, the fullness into which every faithful believer is called. Every tear you have shed, every step you have taken, every moment you have stood firm, all point toward eternity, where the light never fades, where love never ends, where I, the Lord your God, reign forevermore. This kingdom is not built with stones, not bound by borders, not governed by human systems or earthly powers. It is unlike any kingdom you have known for. It is not born of man, but of heaven itself. It was established before the foundation of the world, and now you are invited to enter it. You have faced trials not merely to prove your faith, but to strengthen your spirit, to make you ready to bear the incomparable weight of glory within this kingdom. In my kingdom, every chain is broken, every curse dissolved, every shadow swallowed by light. There will be no more tears, no more mourning, no more pain. You have tasted freedom on earth, but it is only a shadow of the perfect freedom you will know in my kingdom. On earth you still battle weakness, limitation, and decay. But in my kingdom you shall clothe yourself with immortality, be robed in glory, and be renewed completely. Your body will no longer carry weariness. Your soul will no longer face darkness, and your mind will no longer be troubled. All will be restored, made whole in my presence. Look beyond what your eyes can see, for my kingdom transcends all boundaries of time and space. This world will pass away, but my kingdom shall never be moved. Thrones of men will crumble, yet my throne remains forever established. Empires will fade to dust, but my kingdom will shine with eternal light. This is the foundation upon which you are called to stand. This is the everlasting inheritance awaiting you. And none can take it from your hand, for my Son has purchased it with his blood upon the cross. Every trial you face on earth is preparation for the kingdom. When you learn to be faithful in little, you are being trained to rule over much. When you remain steadfast in the storm, you are being forged to stand beside me on the throne. When you love those who are difficult to love, you are practicing for the day you will reign with compassion. When you forgive, you reflect the nature of the kingdom where grace overflows. Never think that what you do is meaningless. These are lessons, preparations, and provisions for your eternal reward. My kingdom is not merely a promise for the future, it is a reality already unfolding. When you live in freedom, when you rise in faith, you bring a piece of my kingdom into the world. Every act of love, every word of truth, every gesture of sacrifice is a seed sown into the soil of eternity. You are not only waiting for the kingdom, you are building it here and now. And each time you choose righteousness over evil, forgiveness over resentment, faith over doubt, my kingdom is manifested once again upon the earth. My child, fullness does not come from wealth, success, or earthly position. These are but shadows vanishing like the morning mist. True fullness comes only from stepping into my kingdom, where you are satisfied in unending love, where meaning never fades, where life is lived in the fullness of my presence. This is why I have led you through the fire, not to break you, but to draw you nearer to eternal reality. And now I say to you, you are not a wanderer without direction, nor a stranger lost in this world. You are a citizen of the eternal kingdom. Your name is written in the book of life. Your place on the throne is prepared. My light already surrounds you. Though the world may doubt you, I behold you with the eyes of a king in glory. You belong to me, and I belong to you. This is the fullness that you are in me, and I am in you forever and ever. My beloved, I tell you this. The fullness I have promised is not a distant ideal to be known only after this life, but a reality that can be revealed in your daily walk with me. The eternal kingdom is not merely for the future, it begins now in every moment you live in communion with me. Each time you lift your eyes in prayer, each time you offer praise, each time you choose obedience over compromise, that fullness is revealed within you. This is the abundant life I promised. I have come, that they may have life and have it more abundantly. John 10:10. This abundant life is not measured by earthly possessions or success, but by intimate communion with Christ himself. When you walk with him, your soul finds satisfaction, your mind is renewed, and your heart overflows with peace that surpasses all understanding. You no longer chase after empty illusions, seek approval from men, or live in fear of loss. For in Christ you already have all things. He is the bread of life, the living water, the source of peace, the way, the truth, and the life. When you have him, you lack nothing. The fullness in Christ is also revealed through the way you relate to the world around you. Once you lived as one seeking recognition, but now you live as one who carries life. Once you sought to be loved, but now you love because you know you have already been loved. Once you fought to protect your position, but now you rest knowing your place is secured in the kingdom. This is the great distinction. You no longer live in lack, but in abundance. No longer in fear, but in love. No longer in emptiness, but in fullness. Understand that communion with Christ is not a ritual but a relationship. It is not confined to moments of prayer but continues in every breath you take. When you work, He walks beside you. When you rest, He keeps watch. When you battle, He strengthens you. When you grow weary, He upholds you. This is true fullness, to know that you are never alone, never abandoned, never left to fight by yourself. Christ in you is the hope of glory. Colossians 1:2-7. This fullness is also manifested in the legacy you leave behind. You do not live merely for this short earthly life, but for eternity. Every decision you make, every act of faith, every quiet sacrifice is a seed sown for a harvest, not only for yourself, but for generations to come. When you walk faithfully, you open a path for your descendants to walk in freedom. When you choose to stand firm, you write a testimony that will steady the hearts of those who follow. When you keep the flame, you pass the light so they will not lose their way in the darkness. The world may forget your name, but heaven never will. I record every act of yours in the book of life. You are not merely an individual, but a living part of my great story. A story that spans generations, linking past, present, and future in one continuous stream of grace. When you live in fullness, you are leaving an eternal inheritance, the inheritance of faith, of steadfastness, of endurance that no force can erase. Fullness is also revealed in how you reflect my image to the world. When people see you stand firm in affliction, they see my strength. When they see you love even your enemies, they see my love. When they see you live righteously in a corrupt world, they see my holiness. You become a living letter of Christ, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God. 2 Corinthians 3:3. This is true fullness, to let your life become undeniable evidence of my presence. This fullness is not confined by circumstance. It does not depend on whether you are in a season of ease or trial. In joy, it makes your joy complete. In hardship, it anchors your peace. In success, it teaches you humility. In failure, it lifts you up again. Wherever you are, in any situation you live in, sufficiency, for I am the source that never runs dry. My child, I want you to walk in the knowledge that fullness is not the distant reward you strive for, but the present reality you carry within. You carry my kingdom inside you, my light within your soul, my fire within your heart. This is why you cannot be shaken, cannot be defeated, cannot be extinguished, for my fullness in you is infinite and it endures forever. Continue to live in communion with Christ. Let this fullness flow through your life, your relationships, and your community. Remember that you are not merely one who has been set free, but one who carries life. You are not only the redeemed, but the bearer of good news. You are not only a flame, but one who spreads the fire. And the legacy you leave will not be bound by the years of your life, but will endure through the ages in the eternal kingdom. My beloved, I am bringing you to the end of your earthly journey, which is also the beginning of a chapter that will never end. Everything you have endured, the dark nights, the tears, the refining fires, the moments of triumph, has led to this moment, the moment you step into everlasting joy in me. No longer a promise, but fulfillment. No longer hope, but reality. You have finished the race, you have kept the faith, and now the crown of life awaits you. Lift up your head, for I declare, well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Matthew 2:5-3. This is the proclamation that echoes through heaven, the destination of every journey of obedience. You once endured, now you rest. You once fought, now you are crowned. You once wept, now your tears are wiped away. You once lived by faith, now you behold my glory face to face. My child, the reward awaiting you is not only rest but eternal communion. You will sit at the table of the Lamb, join the songs of the redeemed, and unite with the symphony of angels. You will see me face to face, not through a dim mirror, but in radiant light. You will know me fully, even as I have fully known you. Every question that once troubled you will dissolve in my presence. Every doubt that once gnawed at your heart will fall silent before my glory. And you will see that everything I have done in your life has never been in vain. The trials you once thought would drain your strength were in truth the bridges leading you toward glory. The nights when you believed you had been abandoned were the very places where I drew nearest to you. The wounds you feared would destroy you have become the marks that testify of my grace. And now every sorrow has been turned into triumph. You will understand that every tear you shed was kept by me, and every silent sacrifice you made was recorded in heaven. Nothing has been lost. All has been transformed into glory. Listen, my beloved, for heaven now resounds with a great proclamation. Behold, the dwelling place of God is with men. He will dwell with them. They shall be his people, and God himself will be with them. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Revelation 2:1-3-4. This is the destination. No more distance, no more barriers, only perfect union. You once felt my presence as a gentle breeze, as a quiet flame, but now you shall dwell in that presence forever, never to be separated again. The joy I bestow upon you in that final day will surpass all words. It is not the fleeting delight of the world, but a joy complete, profound, and everlasting. It is the joy of one who has finished the race, who has kept the flame, who has remained faithful until the end. It is the joy of reunion, reunion with me, reunion with the multitudes of saints, reunion with those who have gone before in faith. It is the joy of full restoration, no trace of failure, no shadow of sin, only the radiant light of eternal life. Know that this joy is not merely your reward, but a testimony before the universe. For all creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God, Romans 8:1-9. When you step into this glory, all heaven and earth will see that my promises are true, my covenant unbroken, and my love everlasting. You are the evidence of light's victory over darkness, of life's triumph, over death, of love's dominion over hatred. My child, I have not only given you a beginning, I have ordained your completion. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. If I have called you, I will also sustain you. If I have begun a good work in you, I will bring it to completion until the day of Christ Jesus, Philippians 1:6. And now you stand at the threshold of that fulfillment. Step forward with courage, with joy, and with peace, for I have long awaited this day to gather you into my everlasting embrace. My beloved one, I speak one final word in this message. Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life. Revelation 2:1-0. This is not merely a promise, but a covenant, and my covenant shall never be broken. Though the path may be narrow, and the trials many, the reward is sure. You will enter unspeakable joy, behold unending light, and dwell forever in unfading love. This is your destiny. This is your inheritance. This is your fullness. Therefore lift up your head. Remain steadfast in faith until the final breath, and walk forward with unwavering trust. For in but a moment the veil will be lifted, and you will hear my voice proclaim, you have overcome, you have kept the flame. Enter into the joy of your Lord. Thank you for listening to today's message. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that together we may receive the living word, build unshakable faith, and walk in the boundless love of the Lord. Amen.